Hi, my name is Jennifer Cory, and I'm with the Heart Initiative. And I am delighted to be sharing with you today one of the techniques of the Pranayama breathing series. This one, Nadi Shodhana, is specific to helping to balance or calm the nervous system, which in the case of people with chronic or inherited diseases or any other sort of ongoing trials and stressors is, I think, a lifesaver. I think it is by far one of the most powerful breathing techniques that I've tried and that I've taught to other people. And I am so delighted to be teaching it to you today because I know what the effect can be, especially if you practice this with any kind of regularity, in terms of helping to reset the nervous system, which after ongoing traumas or stresses or in the midst of ongoing stressors can really be set to high alert, so that it gets activated very quickly and it comes back to baseline very, very slowly, which isn't great for our sense of well-being. It's certainly not great for our physical health. And so here's a way of being able to regulate your nervous system, be able to bring it back down to a more balanced and centered place so that it's not always so ready to fire so quickly, so that everything doesn't have such a high level of anxiety reaction internally. And also, I think that just in terms of even if you're not somebody who feels a tremendous amount of anxiety, in terms of really helping to just re-engage the nervous system at this very, very common level place is extremely helpful for anybody. You don't have to be somebody who's dealing with any kind of ongoing challenge or crisis to benefit from this. So let me start by sharing a couple of things. First of all, posture. The posture for this practice, as it is for any of the guided meditation or breathing practices that we do, is upright with both feet on the floor. The idea is to have the vertebrae stacked, one on top of the next, so that you're not in a really intense, stiff posture, but you're also not sort of in a slouchy posture. So just imagine those vertebrae really nicely stacked on top of each other. You can have an upright posture while at the same time not being too tight or stiff. So the way that I like describing it is, it's the kind of posture that would open up your heart. And so the shoulders would be sort of rolled back, but then dropped down a bit. And the chest would be open and the body made to be comfortable, but upright. The other thing I want to say is we're going to be holding the right hand up for a period of time. What you might find helpful is to just take a pillow, one that you can prop under your arm a little bit, just to give yourself a little bit of an assist. If you're sitting on a sofa and you're near the arm of the sofa, maybe you just want to rest it this way. I actually don't have a hard time leaning it against my chest or my stomach. That probably says something about my stomach, but I don't mind doing that. Because I feel like I'm able to support it enough. But I've had a lot of people say that sometimes they get distracted by the tension in their arms. So I'm inviting you to just grab a pillow and sort of play around with the positioning of it. Last but not least, I'm going to ask you to take your left hand, the back of your left hand, and just sit it gently so that the palm is upright on your left thigh. It'll give you something to do with your hand. It also creates this sort of very open posture for being able to receive some energy and relaxation. So use your right hand. There was one other thing I wanted to say, and that is maybe you can hear a little bit. I apologize in advance for the froggy throat. I'm in the middle of allergies. And one of the things that I think is important to note is, first of all, if you're in the middle of a full-blown upper respiratory sinus infection or head cold, I don't recommend this breathing technique because it's not going to feel relaxing. It's going to feel like you're fighting against something, and nothing about that is going to be comforting or comfortable. If you're just somebody who's dealing with allergies, or I also tend to have a little bit of a narrow area here, so I can get stuffy very quickly without too much external prompting, then my suggestion is twofold. One is, blow your nose really nicely, not super intensely, but really nicely to clear anything out before you get started with this, and keep a tissue nearby in case you need it. And the other thing I'm going to show you is we're going to use the right hand, the middle, and the ring finger sitting right here between your eyebrows. But so you can close off the right side of your nose with your thumb and the left side with your ring finger and your pinky if you want. But what I do is when I'm closed off on the right side with my thumb, I actually use the ring finger to open up the left side, almost like I have a breathe right there, one of those nighttime breathing bandages that you use that open your nostrils this way. So that's what I do, and I actually find it extremely helpful. If you find you get stuffed while you're doing this, or you're just too stuffy to do it all, there's a couple of options. One is you could just do the breathing inside and outside of your mouth. So breathe through the side that you can inhale or exhale out of through the nostril, and the side that feels particularly stuffy, you use your mouth as an alternate. I don't really have any evidence that says that that's as effective as the left and right nostril breathing. But anecdotally, in terms of my own clients, I certainly have had people say that and respond as if they were doing the traditional alternate nostril breathing. So I offer those options to you. So again, my apologies for the scratchy throat, but I think I'm a good example right now of somebody who's a little bit stuffy or struggling with some nasal stuff and is still able to do this. The other thing is that when I do this, you're going to hear, I'm going to talk about inhaling to the count of 5 and then pausing and then exhaling to the count of 5. And if you're anxious trying this for the first time, please ignore that and just inhale to the count of 4. And if 4 feels like it's too long, inhale to the count of 3. The idea is not to create more stress, but to introduce this in a way that will feel really comfortable for you. 5 can be aspirational. It can be something that you work toward. So if it's more comfortable inhaling for 3 and then pausing and exhaling for 3 or 4, you're not losing out on anything. So please, I'm asking you to do this to the place or the level that's comfortable for you. And I'm going to show you the place that's comfortable for me and the way that I traditionally teach this to people. So your left hand palm is up, sitting on your left thigh. Your right hand, your middle finger, and index finger are gently, gently resting between your eyebrows. And you're going to pinch off the right side of your nose with your thumb. Open up the left side if you'd like to with your ring finger. And inhale on the left to the count of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then pause and open up the right. And exhale through the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause at the bottom. Pinch off the right. Inhale on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close off the right. Close off the left. Sorry. Open up the right. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to inhale on the right side, the same side we just exhaled on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pinch off the right. Open up the left. Exhale on the left side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause at the bottom. Keep the left side open. Inhale on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close off the left. Open the right. Exhale on the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you've just learned pranayama breathing. Inhaling on one side, this is how you start. Inhaling on one side, closing that off, exhaling on the opposite side, and then the side that you exhaled on. Now you inhale on the same side that you just exhaled on. Inhale, pause at the top, switch over to the other side, exhale. And then at the bottom of that exhale, you pause and you inhale on the same side that you just exhaled on. So what I'd like to do is recommend that you try this 3 to 5 minutes a day as a way of building up this reserve of sort of like creating a muscle memory, except you're doing it for your nervous system. You're reminding it of what it's like to come back to what I'm going to call home base, this really calm and relaxed and peaceful place. You can also use it in acute kind of anxious situations. I'm not somebody who loves to do public speaking. And so before I do that, you'll see me sitting in an audience doing this. And I do it because it's amazing how much it calms my nervous system. What I wouldn't say is to only use it under those circumstances, because without that muscle memory, I don't think that it will be as effective. I think practicing it and then having it to go to when you need it in periods of greater anxiety is what's really helpful. And so, as I said, 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Try it in the morning, try it again in the evening. And then if you have a time where you need to use it acutely, you have it in your back pocket. One of the other things that I wanted to share with you is that when you are doing the pranayama breathing, sometimes, so I'm counting out loud, and I'd like to practice this with you again. You can do the counting out loud, but it's better if you do it just in your own mind and sort of hear it like a rhythm, like a metronome. Just hear that kind of rhythm going off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, if that feels too long for you, rather than rushing it along, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, drop the number down. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. The other thing I'm going to suggest is, first of all, please don't ever do this when you're driving. Excuse me. But if you are sitting at home or wherever you've decided to do this, in your office, perhaps, which is a wonderful way to take a 5-minute time out in the middle of the day, it's ideally close your eyes if you can, so that all of the focus goes into the breath and the count. And if you find yourself getting distracted, and don't be surprised at all if that happens, if you find your thoughts going off somewhere, again, that is so normal. It happens to all of us. The second that you recognize you've gone off somewhere, just notice where you are. Are you on the inhalation? Are you on the exhalation? Where were you in terms of the numbers? And see if you can pick up wherever you last remember being. And if you can't, there is nothing wrong with just choosing to close off one side, open the other, and start from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not a competition. You cannot get this wrong. I'm going to put up the next slide. The next video will be offering you a little bit of something to focus on in case you don't want to close your eyes. We'll have a video loop going. Hopefully the loop will be smooth and not too jerky. I think it depends on where you are when you're picking up that loop. But you can listen to my voice, follow my instructions, and use that as a way of introducing yourself to the actual practice itself. So these are the instructions, and next will come the practice.